Hey, welcome back to the Montana Garage. We're still out here working on this 55 Chevy, trying to get this thing ready for Rocky Mountain Race Week. We have 60-some days till we reach the promised land or we hang our heads in shame. Which is it gonna be? We're still shooting for the promised land, baby. This time, NHRA approved, hopefully NHRA approved, trunk-mounted battery box. So you might wanna ask me, why am I putting the battery in the trunk? Well, because race car. I don't really need to say anything else, right? I mean, you guys get it. So for whatever reason, long time ago, I decided we're gonna put the battery in the trunk. Like I said, race car, weight savings, free up space in the front, looks better not having the battery up there. Creates a little bit extra work, you know, but that's all right. We like to work around here. So this is my kind of brief approximation of what's going on. Is that something, a brief approximation? I don't know. This is my brief approximation of what's going on. We're gonna have this, you're wondering why I got a white box. Most of you guys probably know this already. It's not white, it's actually like aluminum. It's got like some protectant film on it. So this is approximately where it's gonna go. I wanted to scooch it a little more further to the side of the trunk here, but we're gonna run into some problems underneath. So we can't do that. I gotta have a little bit of space because the cables are coming out over here and then go down through the floor. So as I said, hopefully NHRA approved. I guess I won't know for sure until I go to the tech line, hopefully there. And now it's in Kearney, Nebraska. It was supposed to be Great Bend, but Rocky Mountain Race Week switched. They had some issues. Great Bend, I guess, is closed for the summer for good. I don't know. They're closed. So we're not going there. We're starting and finishing in Kearney, Nebraska. So see you guys there if you're going to be there. So I'm trying to make this NHRA approved because I'm trying to race it. And there's a couple things you got to do to be NHRA approved. It's got to be in a sealed box, sealed and I think vented box, unless you have a firewall built in right here and there's maybe a thickness involved with that. So I could have put a piece of sheet metal up there and then not put this in the box, but I'm just putting it in a box. I probably would have liked to have it in a box anyway. So those are your options there. Again, check your own rule book. Make sure, don't take my word for it. I don't know what I'm talking about. So it's got to be in a sealed box. This box will have a vent tube that'll actually go to the outside of the trunk compartment as well. The other kind of tricky thing is it's got to be, I'm trying to remember exactly how it's worded, mounted to the frame, directly to the frame or frame structure. So I know what the frame is. I don't know for sure what the definition of frame structure is. So, I don't know. I'll just show you what I'm going to do, and I'm going to hope it's going to work. Here's a view from underneath. That battery box is right up yonder, like so. So it's hard to like really mount it right to the frame. I guess you could position the battery in such a way that a couple long all threads came all the way through the frame or something, but here's my plan. I'm going to build a box or a square rectangle. Technically, it's a rectangle. I was good at geometry. A rectangle out of like 3/4 square tubing, and it's actually going to sit right in this little rib here is where one side is going to be. It's going to take a 90-degree turn because rectangles have 90-degree turns. And it's going to go over here and then it's going to do the same thing. And so that's going to be, is that a frame structure? I don't know. So it's going to be mounted to that square tubing. And then I can run a piece of angle iron like up from here to the square tubing on each end if I need to technically connect it to the frame, I guess. I don't know. Maybe somebody out there can tell me before I get all the way to Kearney, Nebraska if this is going to work. But it's kind of what I did over there, but I never went through tech before ever in that thing. So I don't know if it worked. I, of course, did some Googling and whatnot, and you can't believe anything you see on YouTube or Google, you know what I mean? Everybody says the opposite thing. Just kind of going by, it sounds like people have done just the little box underneath and that works for most people, it sounds like. Guys with Mustangs put them right to the floor because it's a unibody and that's considered part of the frame. Now, obviously I have a frame, so the floor isn't part of the frame. But technically, if I got this little, I don't know about technically, but if I got this little frame structure here underneath the floor and something were to happen, I mean, it would have to pull that whole section of floor loose. So anywho, I'm thinking that maybe just this frame structure is enough, but I'll probably go ahead and, like I say, run a angle down to the frame just in case. There you can see I got started on the structure. Got to weld the ends. Now I got to leave one side out because it has to fit around this little suspension tower thingamabob or doohickey. So I can't weld the whole thing and then slide it in there. See, it won't, you know what I mean? It won't fit through there. So I'm gonna make a 3-sided rectangle. Let's see, how am I gonna do that? Yeah, if I do a 3-sided rectangle, I can slide it in like so, and then I'll have to hold that piece up and then weld that piece in place. So, and then we'll have to figure out how to drill some holes, and there's some unevenness involved because the trunk has the ribs and it kind of slopes down. And so as usual, we got some head scratching and some figuring to do, but we'll make her happen. Strike one, I tacked it this way, like so, and it's supposed to be this way, like so. So grind and start over, baby. Take two. So here's what we ended up with after a little bit of welding. I went ahead and ground them off. I should have just left them. The welds actually look pretty good. You can kind of see the ones inside the corner there. This side, I just tacked it so I could get it all together square or rectangular, like I said before. This piece has to come out so I can fish it around underneath, and then we'll weld that from underneath. But so it looks like it actually even works. My holes line up, or my, the frame lines up to where the holes will work. So I got a punch. Can you guys see me? Probably not. And I got lucky and it actually is the right size and my holes are gonna work. So I got to punch and drill some holes and then we'll move on to the next step. But that'll be tomorrow because time is up again. Dang it. All right, it is late the next night, but I am back out in the Montana garage. I have just a little teeny bit of time tonight, but I'm just trying to get a little bit of something done each day so we can make some progress to get this thing ready for Rocky Mountain Race Week. So I'm just gonna try to get this battery box mounted, or at least get the holes drilled, the location figured out, and get all my holes drilled and stuff. So I already drilled the first two holes in the, that are already in the battery box to go through the frame structure I'm building. Now, technically, that's all you need holding your battery down by the NHRA is 2 3/8 bolts into the frame or frame structure. But well, I got this little rib right here, and so we got a lot of, this rocking action. So I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put a bolt in each corner, and that way I can use that kind of almost as some feet underneath that with another nut or another piece of metal that I go through to kind of, even things out just a tad. So we're just gonna do some figuring, pop a few more holes in here, transfer it over to the frame. I did decide, once I welded that little frame structure together, I do think I can scoot it over a little further than I thought. So we'll verify for sure where it's gonna be, pop some holes through here, and then that'll kind of be it for the battery box mounting, and then we'll have to figure out how to wire it later once I get the part. So there's that little part. So we'll take a peek from under here, show you what we're dealing with. So I can't remember if I showed you this already, but I had to leave one side of this out because it's got to go fish it around the suspension here. You guys can see that. And then the reason I can't go too far inboard is because this side hits up against the leaf spring hanger and whatnot. So I got to sneak out to get away from there. Now the bolt goes this way, so I think I can get the bolt out of there still. So as long as I leave room to where that's not hitting, and I got room to get a wrench on that nut, and then I kind of center it. I'll have to look at the top to see front and back, but I'm just trying to get an idea where I kind of want to pop the first hole. And it looks like there's a little seam in this spare tire well cover I put on here. I'm gonna drill the holes right on this seam. So we'll go up top and figure front and back, but left and right is gonna be right on that seam, or roughly on that seam if that stays straight with what we got going on up there. So here's what we got looking from up top. This is, it's not screwed in or drilled in or nothing right now, but this is where it's gonna pretty much call home. I got a little marker piece of metal there to tell me where I'm gonna drill the first hole. And it looks like, it's straight-ish. I got enough room back here. It's right next to the wheel well, there's a little space. Got enough room for my wires to come out and dive through the floor right there. And I got enough room for when the trunk closes down, nothing's gonna hit right here. I think we will call that home and start drilling some holes. So like I said, I think this is where hole numero uno is gonna go. Well, shoot, I can't stick the little thingy all the way through there. All right, just centered right there. You know how much time I spent filling holes and welding cracks and fixing seams in this trunk floor? There's a bunch of them. I wasn't really making videos in, I don't think, but now I'm just drilling more holes in it. Doesn't make a lot of sense, I guess. How it goes. And then we'll bolt this guy on. Hello. We'll bolt this guy on from underneath because that's where it's going to be. Hopefully there's nothing in my way and I can drill the other holes from down there. You guys can watch from here and see if anything exciting happens. Probably not. All right, let's see. Hopefully I had that setting the right way. I got my X and my arrow. That one goes like that. Be kind of a bugger to bolt these in by myself. I should have put some sort of nut or something in these. Too late now, I guess. Maybe not, but. I know you guys are all thinking, why is he not doing it the right way or the easy way? Because I don't know how to. Got her up, going for strike two. Strike two. This isn't really going how I planned it. All right, I'll be back when I figure out what I'm doing. Or that might never be, I might never be back if that's the case, but I'll be back in a little bit. I still don't know what I'm doing, but I'm back, like I said, otherwise, maybe never. I think I know what I'm doing. I got these tightened up, and so now I got the frame under there from the bottom side. I'll poke some holes up through the top, and it should be done. It should be easy peasy, right? That's what I thought about that part too. See if I can't get some metal shavings in my face. Metal shavings and a piece of 3/4 square rod right in the face. Had that jammed in there to keep the gap. I don't know what these bolts, shoulder bolts, or I don't know what these are called, but I don't really want that. That's not what I need in this situation. But that's the only 2-inch bolt I could find the other day that was threaded all the way. And I need this to be threaded all the way because I'm going to put another bolt between here and here. So I guess what I can do, put all these together before I go too much further. So I'm hoping I can get away with just a bolt like this in between each one of these for a little foot, and then I can use that to kind of adjust it a little bit, per se. So I made that a bit of a struggle as usual. For some reason, that's just how it always is, I guess. But we finally got her. I got a nut under each corner because we were unlevel, so that kind of, you know, sturdied her up. I don't know if it's perfectly level, but I can also adjust them a little bit if I need to. So because I was using these funky round-headed bolts, I had to grind the corners off so that the inside of the box would fit down in there. But that's that. The I don't have bolts in these two because that's where the all thread is going to go down, and then that's what of course holds the battery down with one of these guys. Boom. So, and then underneath, we're not done obviously, but there's our little frame. I gotta weld the other piece in there and paint it, and then, you know, figure out the actual hold down part. But that's probably about it for tonight, because like I said, I didn't have a lot of time, but I wanted to get something done, and that was something, right? So we'll be back. There we have it. All the pieces are painted. I do realize I have to do a little bit of welding on here. Like we're welding, this piece gets welded in here. So I'm gonna have to, you know, remove a little paint to do that, but I just thought it'd be easier to paint it and then touch up the welded spots rather than try to paint it all up under the car. So while that's drying, I started looking at the rest of this deal, and unfortunately, the little bracket they give you that goes across the top of the battery doesn't work on the battery I have. It's the same setup in that car, and that battery is Scotch, thinner and narrower, and it works in there. So I either got a different battery, I either got to get a different battery. I bought this battery last year, so it should still be good. Or I just got to modify this, or just build something new there. So we'll figure that out while the paint's drying. All right, hold up, time out. Brad and the Bare Metal 55 here, coming at you from the future. It's much more done now than it was in the video you're watching. Anyways, we're not in the Montana garage. Montana garage is right over there. We're in the house garage. There's something very, very special going on in the Montana garage. And so no room in there for this guy right now. Stick around. In the next few videos, we'll talk about that. But I'm coming to you from the future because, well, the video you're watching doesn't have an ending. Lame, I know. I was scrambling to try to get ready for Rocky Mountain Race Week, and a lot of the videos, a lot of stuff didn't get filmed, and the stuff that did get filmed was kind of sporadic, and I never had an ending. I never had any finished video or footage of the installed battery box. What I do have coming up next is some footage of how I did the battery cables and wired it all in, and then at the end of that video, we'll pop back from the future here, and then we'll show you the finished product and how it all works. Stick with me. I know everything's out of order and discombobulated. I'm trying to make some new content as well, but I got a lot of old stuff from trying to get ready for Rocky Mountain Race Week that I know some of you guys don't want to see. Next video, we'll wire this battery box up and show you how it all worked out. So appreciate you guys watching. Like, share, subscribe, tell a friend, and new content coming soon, hopefully.